Hello students, in this short video I'm going to show you how to schedule a Zoom meeting and then how to host one, record it, and then take that recording and upload it to YouTube. So the first thing you're going to need to do is at least create an account. That way that meeting is housed under your name. So I already have an account, and setting up a Zoom account is free. You can host 40-minute meetings for free. Anytime beyond 40 minutes it will shut down unless you have a paid account. But Zoom is terrific because you can host these meetings for free up to 40 minutes. So I'm going to sign in first. Once you have an account, it has like a personal meeting ID already created for you. I'm going to schedule a meeting, and that's what you'll do. You just pick a day where you want to host this particular meeting. And I'm just going to call this, let's call it 8th grade math review session. You could enter a description of, today we will review for our test on Monday. Let's just say that I want to host this at sometime in the near future. So maybe on September 17th. And I want to host it at maybe go the other direction at 10 a.m. And I just want this to be 30 minutes long, not 1 hour and 30 minutes. So I got to change all of that. Time zone for me will be Eastern time. This will not be reoccurring. It's going to generate a meeting ID. We can use the personal one, or you can have it generate one automatically. You can have a passcode created for it. Now, in a typical K to 12 situation, you would definitely want a passcode because that prevents just anybody from logging on. But since you're not in that particular situation, you can take that off if you would like. I'm also going to take off the waiting room as well. That way, if you have somebody waiting to get in, they don't have to wait. Now, again, for the K to 12 situation, I would put the waiting room on and have the passcode. I want the video to be on for host and participants. I want the audio to be on for both telephone and computer audio because you might have some students logging in on an iPhone. I want to enable you can enable participants to join before the host. You can mute them upon entry so that they can't goof around when they're in that virtual classroom setting, if you would like. I am going to enable them to join before the host. I'm not going to mute them. The reason I'm not going to doing this is because I realize that I'm looking to host something with a classmate or maybe a brother, sister, cousin, and so I want it to be as least restrictive as possible in this given situation. I'm going to save this. Once I save it, of course, I can start this meeting right now if I would like, but what I'm really interested in is copying this invitation. So I'm going to copy this invitation. It tells me everything that I need to know about this. And you could just copy this meeting invitation and you could email that out to your students. The other thing that I really want is this right here. Why? Because that is the web link that your participants need in order to join the meeting. This is what I would want to see you embed inside your Google Classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. I'm going to come up here and go into one of my sample Google Classrooms. I'm going to go ahead and pick this 3rd grade one. Let's just say I wanted to have an extra review session one day. So I'm going to create, I'm not going to call it an assignment because they're not going to have anything due. It's going to be a material. And this is just going to be 3rd grade review session, optional on Wednesday. Okay. And I want to add that link. So I add that in here, and that automatically has the launch meeting link that we were looking at. Now let's come back into this. So if you want to start this meeting, this is under your meetings profile. So you would just have to click on the particular meeting, this 8th grade math review session, and at any time you can then start it. So you come back into your account and when you're ready to begin it, and you would start. So let's say I want to start this. We want to go ahead and I'm going to allow Zoom to open links, and I'm going to open Zoom meetings. It takes a while for it to launch. But now we see me right here. What I want to do is I'm going to change this, and instead I'm going to share my screen. So let's say um, I want to look at, either I want to look at the whiteboard or maybe, yeah, let's go ahead and look at, now I'm sharing my screen and I'm in the corner. So let's say that I wanted to go ahead and during this review session, I'm going to open up Jamboard so that I can show students how to do a couple problems. And maybe during this 8th grade review, we are going to work out a missing angles problem. So it's pulling up. Now, of course, I could not share my screen and instead use Zoom's whiteboard. I just chose to do this. Now, before I would start, what I would want to come back and do inside of my meeting link, right here, up here, I need to start recording this. Otherwise, you won't have a recorded session to include. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on the record option. And actually, I was on the wrong one. So this video here, that's of me. And so I'm glad I pointed that out because that might be immediately what you think you need to click on in order to record. I forgot that the record button is under more. So you're going to click record. And you've immediately started recording here. Now, what I'm going to do at any moment, like let's say I spend some time working with my students, and you'll have another little picture like you have of myself here in the corner of the other person that you're teaching, and you would maybe want to go ahead and work this out and say, oh, okay, well, we know that this angle right here, oops, let me get my pen. This angle right here is 112 because these are vertical angles. We see with this indicator here that these two are equivalent. So this is also 112, and then this is 112. We know that A and B are supplementary, so we know that this would have to be 68 because they add to 180. And since A and C are vertical, that would have to be 68 as well. Thank you for joining my Zoom session. Fantastic. Have a great day. So then you stop your share, and then you also have to end your meeting. So I'm going to click end down here, and we're going to end the meeting for all. And now that it has ended, it's going to convert the meeting recording into a video for me. So I'm going to let that just convert, and we just have to wait here. And when it's done, it will embed this right into a Zoom folder in my documents that I'm going to pull out for it so that it's easier to access. And then I'm going to take that meeting link, and that's what I'm going to upload to YouTube just so that Dr. Rook can access it more easily. I think if you're embedding this into Google Classroom, you could, if it's not too long, just embed it as a recorded MP3 file. Notice you have an audio only playback in Zoom. This is the one you want. Let's rename it first. So I'm going to rename this as 8th grade review. And then what am I going to do with it? I don't want it here. I want it to go to my desktop because that's just easier because look, it's layered all the way down in here. So I have a desktop folder down here. So I'm just going to drag and drop it. Oops, it went too far. Where the heck did my desktop go? We got to come up here. Let's leave it back here until I can find my desktop. I went a little too far. Okay, there it is again. It opened up all of my subfolders. Come down to desktop, right there, drag and drop it. I'm going to minimize everything else that I had open, and there it is. So once you have this easily accessible, you just want to upload this to YouTube, and there's a separate video following this one in our Google Classroom project folder that tells you exactly how to do that. I hope this was helpful. If you have any issues with recording your Zoom session and then uploading it to YouTube or just finding the file, please let me know.